Hey garden friends, welcome back. I'm so sorry it's been so long since I have filmed. It has actually been genuinely crazy around here. As you guys know, it has been the holidays, but also we just moved literally 2 weeks before Christmas. And so it has just been crazy and insane. And I've been waiting to try to do this empty garden tour with you guys because I really want to show you guys our new house and the land and just my ideas for the new gardening season. But I wanted to try to get my husband to follow me around while I did the garden tour, like a normal garden tour. But unfortunately that hasn't worked out. It's just been so hard to coordinate our schedules and we have so much going on. So I just feel like it's gonna be good for me to just take the camera and go outside and try to show you guys what we have in this new space, in this new lot, because I just can't wait to share it with you guys any longer. I really want to get started working on the garden beds, but I wanted to show you guys the blank slate first. So it's kind of been preventing me from doing stuff. So we're gonna do that today. So we're gonna take you on a tour around the house. You'll be able to see the land. You'll be able to see kind of the layout of everything. And then I will also be sharing with you guys my plans. I have some sketches, I have some stuff written down, and I'm very excited. I just did a seed order literally yesterday, so I'm itching. I'm itching you guys to get out there. Also, as you guys can see, I do have a sunroom, so I'm super excited about that. I also will be starting seeds here soon once I do get my seed order in, and then I have some seeds also that I saved from last year, so I will be starting those soon as well. So yeah, lots of stuff going on. Let's go ahead and just head outside and we'll show you guys what everything looks like. Okay, so we are here outside of the front of the house, so let me show you what that looks like. Okay, so this is what the front of the house looks like. I am actually super happy with it. So obviously this is not like the house we would buy, but I am confident that with some bushes and some well-established gardens that this will look chef's kiss. I'm so excited. So the nice thing about this house is that there are no gardens established currently. So there's good things and bad things about that, obviously. So the good thing is that I can do whatever I want in this garden. And I've already talked to the landlord. We talked to them before we signed the contract, and he said that it was totally fine for me to plant whatever I wanted to. He didn't care. The last tenants that were here were actually here for 15 years, and they built a shed in the back that they left. So he is super chill and is willing to let me do whatever. So I'm very grateful for that. So I'm very excited. When I drove up and saw that there was nothing, I was like, because I can choose what I plant, which is cool. The only negative is I do wish that there might be some evergreens or just something with a little bit of structure just to fill it in for that first year, rather than, obviously once I plant those evergreens and stuff, they're going to be very small and they're going to be like that for years to come. So I'm not going to get that immediate reward of having something established. But that's okay. I'm willing to sacrifice that for the liberty to be able to plant whatever I want. So I'm very excited. So my plan is, this is the east side of the house actually. So this is the east side. So there's a lot of space. You guys can see that there is a lot of space to be able to do stuff. I'm thinking about starting the garden right about here, maybe right a little bit past the step. So probably about a good 6-7 feet out. Maybe more like 8. And then I'm going to try to fill in. I'm thinking about doing some hydrangeas in there. I want to do, I also want to plant some of the things that I already have. So I might put, because obviously it gets shaded in the afternoon, I might put my spirea here or something like that. I haven't completely decided where everything's going to go, but I definitely want to fill this place with some hydrangeas because, I mean, how could I not? I do want some winter structure. So I probably will try to see if I can pick up some evergreens on sale that they sell for Christmas and stuff like that will be on sale. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, so that's what the front of the house looks like. It's not obviously super pretty, but once I have some shrubs established and can cover up some of the foundation, I think it has a lot of potential. Okay, now over here to my left side is the south side of the house. So I have this big open area that does get partially shaded by this big tree in the afternoon. But anyway, so this side is probably would be technically the best side to put vegetable gardens, because apparently the south side tends to get the most full sun. However, because of the trees, this is not going to be a super good option. So what I had thought about was maybe, let me walk over here, maybe putting them over here. So here's the front of the house again. Over here to my right is a little patch. So it's very thin. And the only problem is there is another huge tree, but I have noticed that this patch over here in the corner is able to escape with at least mostly sun during the majority of the day. So, and I'm hoping that maybe the sun will come through just right here when it is summer, and that this might get enough sun to be a good place for the vegetable garden. So I'm thinking some raised beds, obviously we'll point them in the right direction. I think you're supposed to point them north to south or something like that. I have to look it up, but that has been the major challenge of this garden, is just trying to figure out where I can plant full sun things. And I have noticed that here in the front of the house does get a lot of sun in the majority of the afternoon until right about now when the sun is going down. Now, obviously it's winter, so the sun is going down a lot sooner. So this should still be getting some good sun once it actually warms up a little bit and once we're a little bit further into the gardening season. So I'm excited because we do have this chain link fence here in the front that looks like this. So all along here we have a chain link fence, a lot of space. And I'm thinking, obviously no one likes a chain link fence, right? I mean, it's not like ideal, but it's a good structure for climbers. So what I'm thinking is I'll be able to plant some climbing plants here. They actually have some roots that are kind of grown into the fence. So I know that they had some at one point. It probably was the last tenants had planted some stuff. They look old, so it probably maybe even was before the last tenants, but they were taken down before we came in. I'm sure it was super overgrown, which is why he was, he took it down for us. But obviously having a good amount of sun and a big open space like that would be great for some really cool, pretty climbing plants. Okay, so while I was talking, I went ahead and moved my way over here to the backyard. So let me show you guys what that looks like. So this is the backyard currently. So as you can see, there's not a whole heck of a lot of grass here. It's very sandy. Let me see if I can get it up close. Yeah, it's very sandy, a little compact. But that is actually because I don't know if they added sand or if it's just this area collects it. I feel like it's got to be added because our climate doesn't stereotypically have a lot of sandy soil. Normally it's clay. It's like dense clay. So I'm kind of surprised at that. Grass is not growing in the backyard very well, and mainly that's because obviously it's sandy, and then also because it does flood when it rains. So there has been a couple of instances that we've had really heavy rain since we've moved here. And it floods super bad in the backyard. So we're gonna have to kind of figure out what to do about that, and or maybe plant some plants that are a little bit more resilient to some wetter conditions. This is the west side of the house, so it gets a lot of afternoon sun, and it is gonna be mostly shaded because it has two huge trees. So the one that I showed you guys that's in our neighbor's yard, and then also this one that I'm looking at right now. This gorgeous, massive tree. I'm actually not 100% sure what it is. I think it might be an oak tree, but we'll see what happens. I'm not good enough to be able to figure out what it is just by looking at the bark, but I do have a dogwood over here. I do know that that's a dogwood because I grew up with those in my yard. I grew up with oaks too, but anyway. So this is going to be mostly shaded, which is going to be a new experience for me. In my old house, it was pretty much full sun for everything. So I'm actually super excited. I'm envisioning some hydrangeas. I'm envisioning hellebores. I'm envisioning hostas. Finally, I get hostas. So we've got some shade stuff here, but the good thing about this, the wonderful thing, the absolutely wonderful thing about having this tree is that, look at this, you guys. Look at this. Look at that. This dirt over here is so beautiful. I was so excited to see all of this. So I am definitely going to be taking some of the dirt from over here and transplanting it into some garden beds. So I literally was so happy to see all of these leaves. It's a gardener's dream. So some really good, like very, what do they call that? Like humus filled, dirt that I can kind of harvest and transplant to other places. We actually moved back to the area that both Connor and I, my husband, and I grew up in. And so we know more people around here. So I have more friends and family who own livestock or different types of animals that they use, obviously like livestock. And so I am going to be going hopefully this weekend to pick up some manure and some compost and stuff like that from them, which they're offering to me free of charge. So I'm very, very grateful for that. So yeah, some really exciting things happening. I'm super excited to get started. I do think that I'm going to be experimenting this year with some no-dig beds. I've been watching Charles Dowding and a couple other people and how they recommend doing no-dig beds, and I kind of want to try that because obviously you guys know that on my old house I dug up all of the beds. I tilled them all by hand with a actual like shovel and like a little tiller I borrowed from one of my friends, and it wasn't ideal. It was a lot of work. So I'm very excited to try that out. If any of you guys have experience doing no-dig beds, let me know because I would love to know y'all's experience and if you guys have any tips or tricks, because I definitely would love to know that. So anyway, okay, last side of the house and then we're done. Okay, and then over here is the north side of the house. So this side of the house, it does look like gets a little bit of sun here towards the afternoon, but of course it's going to get shaded by the house as the day goes on. But it looks like we have some part shade stuff, but of course once this beautiful dogwood comes into bloom, we might have a little bit more shade over here. So some more shade options on this side. Okay guys, so I have finished showing you guys the outside. Let's go ahead and head back inside and I'm going to show you some sketches of what I kind of envision this landscape looking like. Hopefully, at least partially, like what I envision it looking like in the upcoming garden year. Let's head inside. Okay, so here is my garden plan. So keep in mind guys that I am not an artist at all. I'm very bad at drawing actually, so please don't come for me in the comments. But I wanted to go ahead and just get some stuff on paper just so you guys could kind of see what I'm thinking about and then maybe give your opinions as well in case you guys have like good ideas, because there are obviously some way more experienced gardeners out there who follow me, so I would love y'all's inputs on what to plant where. So this is kind of what I'm thinking. So here is the front of the house and these are the beds I'm going to do first. So I'm just going to do the beds in the front. I just feel like it's like the first place that you look and I really want to get that foundation covered up. So these are the front garden beds, and then I also want to do here. This one is probably one I'm going to do this year as well. This one here that's yellow is actually all of my wildflower / climbing plants that I want to plant along that chain link fence. There's also a lamppost that I don't know if you guys saw, but I want to plant something climbing to climb up on that because I just think that that's so romantic. I think it's so beautiful. It's just like a cottage core's dream to have a little lamppost. It's very Lion and the Witch in the Wardrobe. So anyway, so I also want to establish this garden bed, which is that corner that I showed you guys. I'll go ahead and get some clips too to insert here so that you guys can know what I'm talking about. So this corner over here, that's towards the street, I want to go ahead and plant that one up as well. This one does flood, so I'm not 100% sure how I'm going to do that, or if maybe it will just get better as I plant stuff in it, because obviously the plants will help with that. But I'm definitely going to have to take into consideration some plants that can withstand some water, because there was standing water there after a really hard rain. Here in the backyard, I do want to do a little fire pit, and then also I want to have gardens coming all the way around. Now these may not get done until next year, but we'll see. I said the same thing in my old house, and then I ended up doing the garden beds, and it took me so long to do the other garden beds because I was tilling by hand, and then I also was removing all of those rocks. So I don't know if I told you guys that. I believe I talked about it, but there was a ton of landscaping rocks all around the house, our previous house that we had, and there isn't anything like that here. So it's gonna be so much easier to establish garden beds in this space, which is another thing I'm so very grateful for. So here are all the trees, like they're just, you know, like there. So I knew what was happening. That's that corner that I showed you guys where I want to put the garden beds. I think that's where I'm going to put them. I think that's going to be my best bet for full sun, or as full of sun as I can possibly get in this area, because every other place, like the backyard, is not going to work. So I'm thinking the front yard is going to be my best option. So that's pretty much what I want to do this year. So let me show you. This is going to be my first project. So that's the one I've sketched out next. Okay, so next here is what I'm envisioning the front garden beds. So these little triangles are just representing some type of evergreen tree. So I'm thinking an evergreen tree on each side. It's so funny. I always say, like, I love the cottage garden aesthetic, but then I'm like structured. I don't know why, but I feel like it helps just to at least have some structure and some like sort of balance. I don't know. Especially in the front of the house, I feel like it makes the house. So but I do want them to be different evergreen trees. So I do, and then I also want to plant a boxwood on each side, just like I had at the old house, because I did like that. So I want to have a boxwood on each side, 2 different type of evergreen trees, and here in the middle, I want to put some hydrangeas. Now, this is not to scale. I'm realizing this now as I'm looking at it, because there's gonna be a lot more space for a lot more plants. So I'll probably end up putting like some more like the spirea that I talked about. And then maybe, I don't know that I'll put my dappled willow. I'm thinking about putting the dappled willow over there in that corner where it floods, because I feel like willows really like moist soil, and he gets pretty big. I'm pretty sure that he gets pretty big. So I don't think he would be a very good front garden plant. And then over here, I do want to put some hostas. I want to do like some type of holly. So I was hoping to plant a holly bush in front of the hydrangea a little bit, because I did want to at least have something for like something that your eye can rest on during the winter. Over here, I want to put a Laura patellum. I keep wanting to say Laura palatum, but it's Laura patellum. So I do want to put one of those because I do want some type of purple foliage. And then of course here in the front, I'm also going to do just like some daffodils and daylilies, and then some of the other seeds that I brought in too. Like I have some other things that hopefully can tolerate some part sun that I can put in there. So yeah, this is what it looks like. So I'm super excited. So I'm just leaving some blank space because I'm not 100% sure what type of flowers that I'm gonna put in, but I am gonna put some flowers. This is just the basic structure of like the basic perennials that I wanna put into those front beds. Okay, so I hope all of that made sense. I know that I tend to kind of video things like all over the place, but I at least wanted to get something on paper and kind of get a general plan. But I thought something that was really beautiful was one of my friends on Instagram, or one of the people I follow. I consider her a friend. She doesn't know who I am. But Jay's garden journal, I believe it was Jay, she had shared on there that she didn't want to do too much planning for this garden year, and that she wanted to do something, and she worded it that she wanted to plant freely and to not stress over what was going into the garden when, and to plant as she felt led at the time. And I thought that was just such a beautiful sentiment, because I'm definitely, you know, I'm still new in my gardening journey and I'm still a new gardener. So I always kind of stress about where I'm putting things and if it's going to work, and, you know, am I doing something wrong? Especially now that I've started a YouTube channel, because I always feel bad if I'm like leading somebody astray. If they see my video and they're like, oh, well then if she's planting this here, then that means I can plant, you know, in a similar situation. But, you know, I think that we, especially this year, after the year that we've had in 2020, I think that's just a beautiful sentiment, to plant freely and to not stress and do what makes your heart happy. And so I'm gonna really try to embrace that this year. I'm just excited. I'm very excited for the new prospects, for the new garden, and just to not take gardening so seriously and just to do what I want and do what makes me feel happy. So I hope you guys can take that sentiment with you as you go forward into the new year. I love you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Let me know what your gardening plans are for this year, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye!